Hi, my name's Tracy Cook, and welcome to the podcast series Victim to Victory. This series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms, that dare greatly to share their real stories. Amazing humans like our upcoming guest that have seen hope and risen above those adversities to become victorious, that now support and inspire others to do the same. And today we are giving a voice to Stacey Roy from the US. Hello and welcome to Victim to Victory.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm
Thank
very
you.
well.
Thank you for inviting me on your podcast. I am really excited and really blessed to be here. So can't
Thank
wait to share
you.
my story.
We can't wait for you to share it as well, Stacey. Now, before we get into your story, just a little bit of a bio, a little bit of a background that we have to share about you, because I know for the majority of your professional life has been spent teaching and training others through positive thinking and motivation. And that's what Victim to Victory is all about. And this is all encompassing of you, Stacey, because I know how much you've traveled overseas. You've got these life experiences, and the experience that you're going to share today firsthand is raw, it is real, and it is the first time that you have ever shared about an entire romance scam from the beginning to the end. You were a victim of a scam, and I know that it turned your world upside down a few years ago. And we are very pleased to have you choose this platform to share this very personal and this very traumatic and this very vulnerable story that has impacted your life. So, Stacey, where does your story start?
Oh boy, it has definitely impacted my life as well as everyone around me. You wouldn't think that way. You wouldn't think that something you're doing has such an effect on everybody. It just kind of ripples out. But my story begins in August of 2016. So that was a few years back now. It's been 5 years already. And like you said, I've never come out and shared my story with anyone. I don't know if it was because I'm embarrassed about it or I can't believe that, I just want to forget about it and get it out of my mind. But actually, I can't, it's great. I really am glad that I went through this. And that sounds so odd, but I was a victim of a romance scam. And it was the furthest thing for someone like me to ever be a victim of. Because here I was, I'm a successful business person in my mind, right? In all our minds. But I was out there, I was building companies, I was working with people, husbands and wife teams. I was married to my husband. We've been married 17 years. We've been together for 23 years. So we were like twins. Whatever he said, I finished. Whatever I started, he finished. And we just had that chemistry, I guess. And so we were helping many other couples out there build businesses, get out of their 9-to-5 jobs and get into their own businesses. So we were doing a lot of teaching and training and developing, but I was getting tired. And I was also had begun doing some personal development, some personal growth on my own self in the year 2012. I started that. And I started thinking, okay, they talk a lot about what does it mean to draw a line in the sand? Draw your line in the sand and then make a decision, step over it and don't look back. Because here I am, I'm building a business with my husband and we're trying to become, we're trying to reach certain goals and we couldn't quite get to these certain goals. And I was like, what is it that's holding us back or what's hindering us? And if you know my ex-husband, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He's a yeller. He's like one of those hot-headed people who likes to yell and talk very loud, which didn't really bother me. I didn't think it bothered me. But obviously now with what happened, it really did bother me. And over so many years, it just built a wall in me. And I didn't realize that I was unhappy. But what happened was in 2016, when I was drawing that line in the sand, I was thinking to myself, you know, Stace, your whole life has been for serving others. It's always been about helping others. I've always helped others and put myself last. And I started to think maybe that drawing that line in the sand is, what is it that I'm passionate about? What do I want to do? You know, what is it that I'm looking forward to in my life? And up until now, I had been with my husband and my daughter. I have one child and she's 22 now, and she's never spent a day without me until she's gone to college. So, you know, she grew up with her mom and her dad, and we did everything together. But I was at that point where I was feeling, you know, a lot of the yelling was really getting to me, and I wanted to do something different. And I felt like my business was falling apart. I felt like, okay, we're helping people, but I don't think we're going to be able to keep these people, you know, with us because we're kind of at odds with Don, my ex-husband, and myself. We kind of were going different directions. I was personally growing, but he was still staying here. And I didn't realize this was going on at the time, but now that I look back, I can see that really clearly. So my story starts with a Facebook friend request, you know, and that's how these romance scams usually start. There's some kind of friend request that comes in. And to me, that was perfectly normal to get a friend request because I'm in a networking business. That's what I was building, multi-level marketing. We built that company up to $40,000 a month. If people looked at us and I wasn't happy, like, what is wrong with me? Money does not make you happy. You know, it just, you know, it can emphasize things that you are, right? And it's not really about the money. But I was like, okay, we're doing well, but it's really hard to maintain it. And it was really grueling on me. And so I got this friend request and I accepted it because that's what I would do with friend requests. I was very focused. You know, I'm a business person. I'm a bottom line person. I don't like the nonsense and the chit chat and stuff. I'm just right to the point and let's get it done. Let's solve the problem. You know, if there's something wrong, that's me. So I got the friend request and thought, I'll do what I always do. I accept it. And then I think in my mind, okay, I'm going to share a video about my business. And if the person is interested, then I'll carry on the conversation with them, the friendship. And if they're not, then I probably just ignore them or I'll delete them out of my Facebook because I don't have the time because I'm working with so many people. And I just felt like I didn't have that time to be a friend, you know, which was terrible when I look back on that. But I accepted this friend request from this very handsome looking man. And I was like, well, you know, okay, I'm going to accept Alexander Hill's friend request. I'm going to send him a video. And I did just that. And of course, he wrote, hi, lovely, you're beautiful. And I was like, you know, you don't know me to say that to me. I said, listen, I'm a businesswoman and I'm going to share a video with you if you don't mind. And if you're interested, then we can pursue it on that end. I'm married. I'm unavailable. You know, I said these things, but he was not interested in the video. And so I was at the point where I said, you know what? I'm going to delete this person because I'm not going to carry on this conversation because I'm not looking. I'm pretty happy. I'm not looking around. That's not who I am. You know, I'm a loyal, trusting, loving wife, you know, a mother, and I have these businesses that I'm running, and I don't have time for this, right? So I want to stay focused. So I was in the car. This is a very beautiful sunny day. I'm sitting in the car. My husband at the time is driving, and he's ranting and raving, and he's yelling at me. And it's beautiful sunny day. We're sitting at a red light, and I remember it like it was just happened. And he's yelling at me, and I'm in the passenger side seat, and I've got my phone in my hand. You know, my phone's right here, and I'm like looking at my phone because I'm getting ready to delete this friend, this Alexander Hill, who is a friend of mine whom I want to delete. So he's yelling and saying, it's your fault that we're not millionaires. It's your fault our business isn't working. It's your fault that so-and-so doesn't want to do this. And he was just blaming me. And I just looked at him and I thought, you know, Stace, I just had enough. I was like, nobody deserves to be treated this way. I mean, I'm a kind person. I have a kind heart. And I never yelled back. And I always allowed him to be who he was and vent. But I just had it that day. There was something about that day that I just said, you know what? I just really had it. And then the weirdest thing happened to me. In my right, as I'm getting ready to delete this person off my Facebook, in my right ear, I hear, stop, look, and listen. I brought him to you. And I looked to my right and I looked at my husband at the time and I said, did you hear that? And he's like, hear what? Because he's busy yelling. So I was like, wow, that was the voice of God. Now, I don't know the devil. I don't, you know, I'm a child of God. I'm a daughter of God. And I just thought, that's the voice of God. And he said, stop, look, and listen. I brought him to you. And I said in my head, okay, God, I'm in his life for a reason. There's something I need to do for this man to change a path that he's on, to change maybe his point of view, or something that he's doing is not quite right. And that was what I felt like in my spirit. And so I didn't delete him. And I said, well, I guess I'm going to carry this on and find out what it is that I'm supposed to do for this person. How am I supposed to help this person? So I was trying to like honor this voice that I had heard, which I've never heard before. I was just like, okay, that's God. But I tried to honor that, and I started a friendship with him. I started to ask him. After that, I started asking him about himself, and I wanted to learn about him, and everything was a lie, everything. And I was, you know how you get those little spidey senses, the little internal voice that you have. It is, and you know, it's never wrong. It's always right. Just always listen to it. Is what I'm going to tell you. So I started friendshipping him, and we just started. I mean, he gave me everything I was starving for that I didn't know I was starving for. You know, when you have a relationship and you've got a full plate, and you've got your turkey and your mashed potatoes and your vegetables right on your plate, and you have everything you need in your relationship because you're being fed, you know, you're not starving. But all of a sudden, when a stranger comes along and they offer you something like, here's some more mashed potatoes, but I don't need those because my plate is full. And so therefore, I'm not tempted to interact with this stranger, right? Or take anything or have a temptation with this person because my plate is full and I'm satiated. But when they come along and they say, here's some cranberry sauce to go with that turkey, you know, and here's some extra stuff, appreciation, adoration, love, listening, lending a listening ear, you know, just telling you, you know, you're beautiful, and you start hearing all these things that you're missing in your life and you don't realize it. And that's what I was missing. I was missing that from my husband. Like, I wasn't getting the appreciation. I was working so hard, but it was never hard enough. It was never enough. And I felt like, how am I ever going to be everything this guy needs, even though I'm doing everything? I'm the mom, I'm the wife, I'm running businesses. We weren't running just one. We had several companies. We had real estate too. And, you know, so we were running a lot of things, and I'm doing all this, but it wasn't enough. But this man who came into my life through this romance scam, which I was not aware of, but you know, we just hit it off, and we just like fell head over heels. And don't ask me how that happens. It's the strangest thing. But the one thing I can say is it was definitely a journey that I needed to take. I could say that it destroyed my life. I could say it ruined everything. It ruined my family, my marriage, everything, but not really, because what I became from it is really great. And I'll share that with you in a little bit. But I was talking to this man. We hit it off for 3 months. I never saw him, never saw a video of him. All I knew, he was a white Italian, dark, handsome man, right? And I was like, wow. And why is he interested in me? About 6 weeks into it, I guess, he asked me for money. Now, I'm not the person to share my money. I share it with my family. I work really hard for what I have. And I I like to take us on vacations. I like to have experiences. So that's what I like to use money for, to have a lot of experiences in life, because that's what it's about, enjoying it and having experiences. But I never ever lend money, because that's like the fastest way to lose people, to
Mhm.
become the enemy, become the bad guy, lose your friends, right? So I never ever did that, because I just felt like, you know what, I earned it, and then I'm going to use it. It's for me to use any way that if I want to bless someone with it and give them some money, then that's who I am, right? And I do that a lot. I would take people to lunch. I would take people to dinner. I would, buy them gifts, and I would do many, many things with money but I would never give people money. So this guy, I don't know why, I was like, I know the story that he's given me is BS. I
Yeah.
know it's not true. I've been around enough, but you know what? I'm going to send him money anyway, because maybe that's what he needs. So I did. I took a little bit of money, and I mean a little bit. It's $500, but that's the start of it. And I sent it, and I thought, okay, I'll help him out. Hopefully this helps him. It wasn't what he asked for. He asked for 2,000. I sent
Mhm.
him 500. Which is like so against what I would do. And I prayed to God about it. And the answer that I got was, Stacy, share what you can afford to lose. Share what you're not going to miss. That's not going to hurt you and your family. And that's why I just said 500. Okay, I'm good with that. And I will send that. And it's
Mm.
going to be my gift with no expectations to ever receive it back, even though it was promised to be returned. So, of course, it wasn't. And of course, he asked for more money. And for whatever dumb reason is, I gave it. And I can't figure out why. It was like I was under, if anyone out there has been in a romance scam, I have this ability to, when I'm in a conversation, I look at what I'm saying. I also look at it from the point of view from the person who's listening to me. So I'm trying to see how they're taking me, my words. But I also have this ability to look from above myself, like over top of myself, almost like I'm out of my body, and I'm watching the conversation below me. I'm watching myself interact with this person, and I'm thinking to myself, is that normal? Is that logical? Is it right? I want to see their point of view and my point of view, and kind of meet in the middle there. But I look at things from 3 different perspectives. And I was looking at myself saying, Stacy, you're sending money to someone you don't know. Are you insane? Are you stupid? What is wrong with you? Everybody would love to be in your shoes. You have so much to lose. Oh my goodness. Why would you ever do this? You're too smart to fall for something like this. See, from day one, I knew it wasn't right. I knew it was leading down a path but I was so pulled, almost like I was hypnotized. Maybe I had some kind of spell on me. It was insane how I acted. I was just so passionate and so focused on this man. And I let my husband know. He knew. He was going through it with me. I was showing him what this man was writing to me. And he was like, Stace, it's not true. It's not, it's gonna ruin this. But I had it with him so much so, because I sat and drew that line in the sand and said,
Mhm.
I'm tired of being treated this way. And I don't want my daughter seeing that it's okay for a man to yell at a woman. I didn't want to teach that to her. And I was like, I've got to do something. And it wasn't just that, it was people in my organization were coming to me and they were saying, Stacy, why do you put up with it? Why do you always allow yourself to be silenced when I'm in business because of you, not because of your husband? I'm attracted to you because you direct me, you give me focus, you guide me, you don't judge me, you just you listen to me, and you meet me where I'm at. And I've
Mhm.
always been that kind of person. Whereas my husband was not. He was like, you got to do it this way, and that's all there is to it. It's my way or the highway. So so I gave this man money. He wanted to fly. He was in Turkey at the time. He wanted to fly. He told me he worked on an oil rig. Big lie. Not true. He was in Turkey and he wanted to go back to Africa. So he was from Africa.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, so I sent him more money to get a airplane ticket, and he flew back to Africa to his family. And about 8 months went by that we were talking on the phone. We were talking all the time, but I had never seen him. Actually, he revealed himself to me after 3 months. Um, and the reason why is because we had become so close. He said, I need to show you who I am because I'm not the guy you've been looking at. And I said, okay. Now I was expecting it. And I said, okay. And he says, I need to show you because you are married and because I don't want to ruin your life. But I really love you and I would love to be with you. And so he says, so I'm going to show you and you're probably never going to speak to me again. And at that point, I was the kind of person who I wasn't judgmental, but I was raised around a mother who was kind of racist. She didn't care for Black people. And so I kind of had that in me as well. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And at that time, I was just like, okay, I'm like, please God, don't let him be Black. Because that's what I'm like, oh my goodness. But he revealed himself on a video call to me, and he was Black. He was African. He was from Nigeria. Go figure, because that's where most of the romance scams are coming from. So he's Nigerian, and I was like, okay, I told him, I said, I need 24 hours to process this because there's a lesson here to be learned. And that lesson that God was dishing out to me was, you know what? There's no such thing as color. Because I started to think rationally and think, okay, he's Black, but what's wrong with that? He's still the guy that I've been talking to and then I've established this relationship with. So what's wrong with it? Why wouldn't I continue with him? Especially the way I felt. And that's why I thought maybe I'm under a spell because this is not the norm. I was doing everything I normally don't do. And I was sending money and talking to another man, and that wasn't me. So after 24 hours, I wrote him a note and I said, you know what? You're still the same person. And he goes, well, I need to tell you my real name. So he did. And he said, it's up to you whether you want, to come see me. And I was like, yeah, I'm taking this all the way. Because when I do things, I tend to I just do it upright or wrong. This might have been wrong. But I'm just one of those people, right? I'm going to make this happen type thing. So, and if I had a midlife crisis, let me tell you, I probably had the most different one from anybody I've ever known. I didn't go get the red sports car. I should have gone and got the red sports car.
Yeah.
But instead, I find myself setting up my house, setting up my family, talking to my daughter, telling her what's going on. There was tons of strife in the family at the time because my husband was really upset that I was leaving. I was like, I've had it. I'm done. I'm gone. And I took care of all the business stuff. I set everything up, the monies and everything, so that it would be very easy. I left him with everything, the house, everything. I left every material possession that I had.
Wow.
For some reason, I didn't care anymore. I just left. I said, I've got to go. And I picked a date, and it was March 5th of 2017. And I left the house and I drove away with nothing but some clothes. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is really real. And I cannot turn back. And why am I going this far? Like, what am I doing? Because I had an airplane ticket to leave the country, which I have never wanted to leave the country. I think the US is pretty big and there's a lot to do here. There's many things to see. And I never wanted to go outside of the country. But I'm so glad that I got the chance, even though it was an odd way to go through a romance scam. I went and met this man, and I was head over heels. I was insane. So one piece of advice I'd probably give everybody is, you know what? Wait 2 years until the, oxytocin and everything wears off and the love hormones wear off, and see if you still like the person. Oh my goodness. So I went and we just got along, and I was head over heels with him. and things were not right from the month one. Things were wrong. There were so many signs. God was yelling at me. He was yelling. My inside voice was like, Stacy, you need to go back. I wanted to go back, but I couldn't go back. I could not turn around and backtrack. I felt like I burned the bridges and I've got to move forward. So whatever hell I've just put myself in, I'm the one who's going to have to go through it and get myself out of it. There's some lesson in here that I'm supposed to be learning. So, I found out that he had a wife, a tribal wife, not a marriage certificate type wife. I found out he has not one kid, but 2 kids. He had told me he was divorced, and that he had one child who was like 12 years old. That was not true. And I thought to myself, wow, I just discovered this, and what do I do? The culture's so different. I think that's probably the hardest part between inner cultural relationships is the communication. Language is the big barrier. We might speak English, but our English is different. It's different when I go to the UK, just like with Australia. The UK English is different from American English. Some of the words that we use have different meanings. And he was the same way. English wasn't his first language. And so I was very careful when I spoke with him to always clarify things 7 times. Did you mean this? Or let me explain this. What's your definition of love? What's your definition of loyalty? It's very different from my definition as an American. But I didn't know this because I was so naive. I'd only been, with one man really my entire life, just about. So I didn't know any better. I never dated. I was just, I just met and got married, and it was, that was it. I started my life. It was crazy. So I was like, I'm a babe in the woods here. Easy prey. Even though I shouldn't be, because I'm such a ice queen, people call me. I'm so cold-hearted, and I just get things done, and I don't take any nonsense. But
was he surprised when you actually flew there? And was he surprised when you actually arrived?
He was totally shocked, because he told me, he said, I feel like you're an angel that has come to save me from what I'm doing. And he says, he goes, the night after I met you, when I first friendship requested you, I was praying out in the field. I was looking up the stars. I was praying, and I was like, God, send me an angel to save me from this stuff that I'm involved with, because I don't want to live this way, and I don't want to make money this way by scamming people. I don't want to be this person. And he said, and all of a sudden you appeared. He goes, that's why I felt so attracted to you. He goes, I didn't know that there was someone in the world who had a heart like you did. He goes, because you didn't judge me, and you didn't tell me I was doing something wrong, even though you knew I was doing something wrong. And we actually got married. We got married in that first year. And that was the hardest thing to do, because I was overseas in Turkey, and he had no money. He's so broke. He had nothing. I think I literally took him from the streets. And it was almost like a motherly thing, like I just wanted to take care of him because he didn't have anything. And then I started looking at my life and thinking, oh, I am disgusted with myself because I've got enough clothes to fill 3 department stores. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is terrible. And I was looking at what he was going through and what he had and what other people had in the country where I now was in Turkey, which is a Muslim country. It's very different. And they don't know about opportunities, and they don't have abundance really. And they don't have a lot of things, material possessions, right? So I started, I really believe that this whole thing was about me becoming closer to God, and learning to really forgive, to truly forgive people. Not that you have to forget what they did to you, but to forgive them for what they did. And, I had a conversation because I got drawn into his world
Mm.
where there were people doing romance scams. That's what they did to survive. And they were sending the money back to their families in Africa. And I said, you guys, why do you do this? Because you gotta look at it from another point of view. But I said, why do you do this to women, to me? Because I've lost everything. I left my house, I left everything, and I lost everything. I lost 4 of my rental properties while I was going through this whole ordeal because I was not in the United States, and I had lawsuits and evictions going on, and I lost houses because I couldn't keep up with all the mortgages, and I had so much in my head, and I was just out there. I turned from businesswoman to I don't know what. I was just in love with this guy, and I just wanted a new life, and I wanted to be as far from my old life as I possibly could. Not my daughter, though. I kept in
Yeah.
great touch with her, because she's so dear to me. And I was there for my ex-husband too, because he had never run the house. So I was always available, and but I asked these guys, why do you do this? Why do you romance scam? Why are you doing this to people? Because it's not a good thing. It's very harmful. And they said, well, we look at it as it's a blessing from God. We say a prayer that we will earn money, that we will get money. And the only way we know to do it is to get online and become friends with a woman and give her what she doesn't have. So we're giving her something that she needs that's missing in her life. And then she in turn wants to give us money. And that's what's missing in our life. And we send it back to our families, and that's how we live. And we look at it as God is blessing us. And I said, no, God is not blessing you. And you're not doing godly things. And you are going to have to atone for this. You're going to have to repent for this, because if you look at me and what you did to me, so you filled my life and gave me adoration and love and attention and the things, appreciation and the things that I was missing. But you took my money, and that money might have been the last $500 that I had to feed my child, to pay my rent, to pay my car. I could have been on the line of, do I use this money for me and my family and to survive? But what's happening is you're taking this money from people and you're hurting them. Now, I'm strong. I'm okay, and I'll make my own way. But someone who's not strong, someone who doesn't have a positive outlook on life, someone who doesn't have, certain philosophies, someone who's maybe not close to God, might not recover from something like this. This is something that is truly detrimental to people. It destroyed my life. It destroyed it. Now I could say that, but it really didn't. It tore down the old stuff, and it allowed me to start fresh. And it allowed me to have a journey that I was meant to be on for whatever reason. I was meant to be on. And during that journey, I only had God to turn to. I didn't want to tell my friends. I didn't want to tell my family. What would they think? I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knew that Don and I got divorced. To this day, it's 5 years later, people our friends are just learning that we're not together. And, because we never shared it. And it was, and Don he tried to save me. He tried to say, this isn't right. Don't do this, Stacy. Let's work this out. But I really didn't think he loved me because of how he treated me. But I can see now, looking back on what I did to him, I feel badly, and I apologize to him that I don't feel bad about leaving. That was the right thing to do for me. But the way I did it sucked. It was the wrong way to do it. And I look back at that and thought, well, but that was the journey God had me on. He wanted me to grow closer to him. And since I've been through this journey, I've learned about grieving. I never knew what grieving was. Even when my mom passed away, I never grieved. I was always that one that people turned to put the funeral together because I could keep it together. I didn't have that emotional part of me. So I've gained a lot of emotion going through this. I've gained a lot of compassion. You know, when I look at people and talk to people about anything, they have a story to tell, and everybody has a story, and everyone has their journey, and there's a reason that they go on it. And I could never ever judge somebody for doing something that I might think was totally dumb. I think I was totally dumb doing what I did, but you know, I had to do it. I was driven to do it by forces that I couldn't have even controlled. You know, people wonder, like, why did you do that? You lost everything. Because, and I did. Literally, I'm in the United States and I live with a friend of mine because I don't have my own house. I own rental properties, but they're occupied by my tenants. And I literally can't, I don't have enough money right now. I don't have the income to buy my own house at this point in time, even 5 years later. But you know, I did make it, and I did have a house over in Istanbul. And I was able to get these men that are over there. Many of them have stopped doing the romance scams because I shared a story with them and the other side of it. But I also understand their side as well. I don't think it's right. I don't condone it. And I really want to help people, other women and even men, not get into this situation, you know, not have to go through what I went through. Because I went through lots of tearful nights. Oh, I cried so much during these past years, and I cried oceans. I felt so abandoned and so left alone, and I didn't have anyone to turn to, and I didn't know where to go, and it was just so hard learning the cultural differences. And I did tell you that I married him. I also divorced him. I came back to the United States in 2020. I got rid of my house over in Istanbul. And I said, I need to free myself from this man because it's just an unhealthy thing. And it wasn't because he had a wife in Africa. It wasn't because I didn't trust him. It's just that I knew he just didn't have the right integrity, and he didn't have the morals that match me. And I kind of lost myself for a little bit in the beginning. I lost some of my morals, some of my integrity when I got involved with this man. And I didn't like that. That didn't sit well with me. And so I was like, okay, let me work through this, because I'm very loyal and I'm a very devoted person, and I'm very trustworthy. And integrity is what you do when people aren't watching you. And he made money in a way I didn't approve of. He did things I didn't want him doing. I didn't like him doing. And I just, even though he loves me to this day, we talk every day. He never leaves me alone. And I always think, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to, block him out of my media and stuff, my social media. I'm not going to live my life running. And I can have a friendship with this man, but I'm not going to be owned or controlled by him. And I came home in 2020, and I said, I divorced him. He didn't know. He never got the paperwork. It was sent to him, but he never received it. I finally told him when I got the papers in November of 2020 that we were divorced. It crushed him. I said, but if we're meant to be together, we can always get remarried. But for now, we're going to take a little break because you're not aligning with my spirit, and I'm growing with God. My walk with God is getting closer and closer. And now I know him like I've never known him. Now, this man talked me back into coming and seeing him. And I resisted for a while, but I ended up going back to Turkey to meet with him in February of 2021. So this was just this past year. And I booked a 3-month trip. And he knew I was coming for him. And I said, I'm going to come. And I'm going to let you know if we can work this out or if this is a no-go. And we were divorced at that time. And I came, I rented my place that I used to have. And I stayed there for 3 months. Well, I got there, and about 6 weeks into it, he says, I'm going to go home to Africa. I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to leave me here? And we're just starting to work things out. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is worth trying to make this work. Maybe I do need to put some effort into this. He went home. And when he went home on March 21st, I was launching my book, my first book that I published. It was a children's book. So on that day, it was the best day of my life because I was launching a book, and it was the worst day of my life because he told me something he had not shared with me. And he said to me, it was 2:30 in the morning, and we were on the phone, and I said, you've been in Africa for a week. Why haven't you even called me and talked to me? And he said, well, she was there for me. And I'm like, who's she? And he meant his wife. He goes, she was there for me when you left me. And I was so heartbroken. And he says, we have a son. So he had a son was born. And I said, really? And I was so, at that moment, Tracy, I saw a flash of lightning. I heard thunder, and I saw this huge stone just crack in half before my eyes. I was like, I'm having a vision or something. And I saw this purple veil, and hands ripped it, and the pieces were dropped onto the table that had broken. And I heard the word, it is finished. And I said, God, you have delivered me from this man. He is not who I'm supposed to be with. He might love me, but that was the breaking point for me. I will forgive him for having a son with his wife and having a weak moment or whatever it was. But I'm not going to stand in the way of him and his family. I am not going to break up his family. I'm not going to ask him to leave them to be with me. And I'm going to lick my wounds, deal with this betrayal, because that's what I felt for the first time in my life. I never dealt with that. And I cried my eyes out for a couple weeks after that. And then I paid for him to fly back and see me for 1 week, because I was leaving on April 30th, 2021. And I knew when I left, I will never be seeing him. Excuse me, I will never be seeing him again. So I flew him back, paid for it, because he didn't have the money. Still doesn't have the money. He's right where I left him after 5 years. And me, I've moved on. I've got new businesses, new friends. I've got friends all over the world. I'm so glad I traveled. I got to go to Germany. I got to go to the UK. I got to go to Russia, Austria, Switzerland. I've done so many things through this while I was processing myself and getting right with myself, and talking to God and saying, what is my lesson here? What am I supposed to learn? And I'm going to come back that much stronger because of it. I'm going to help that many more people because of this. Hopefully I can prevent people from going through what I went through, because it was very tough. And you need to be someone with really thick skin. You need to be able to not worry about what other people say about you. Other people's opinions of you are really not any of your business, right? That you have to have that mindset. And there's a lot of women that I have talked with, I've spoken with, that are like, wow, I've been through something like that, and I just want to end my life. I've lost everything. I don't have a house. I don't have this. I don't have that. My family hates me. They've exiled me. Mine did the same thing. But I stayed in their lives. I was like, I'm still your family, and you're still my family, and I still care about you guys, no matter what, no matter where I am. And my ex-husband and I now, to this day, I go over his house and spend the night. We're in separate rooms, but we have a great business relationship now. We have a different way. He has a different way of respect for me now. He like literally wants to take care of me now. He wants to provide and, let me help you out, or let me do this for you, or can you help me with this? And then I'll help you with that. And it's really grown into something very beautiful, even though it was very devastating, to him, especially. He really had a hard time, and I felt so bad about it. But, I just decided, when I got home to the US here in May, I had a few things to deal with, because I was going to go back and travel back to Turkey and go spend some time with some friends I'd met there. And I couldn't do that. I ended up having a cancer issue on my back, and I was kind of grounded. I was like, God, you're grounding me. But you know what? It was during that time that I played all my worship music. I started to love the Lord even more. And then I started to realize what is real happiness. I started to become okay with me, like just being by myself. I needed to be alone with me and like me, start to love me so I can love everybody else, and I have so much love to give to everybody. And I want to share that. And I'm like, but who can handle it? So I learned this, through my walk with God and just getting with him. And then I realized, God, our Father, he's all the love we need because he loves us. He loves all of us, no matter what we've done. It's like he forgives you completely because he only sees love. And I felt that. And I felt like I'm so comforted in that I don't need a man to make me be loved. Right. I was like, I got to get myself right. I got to work on Stacy, make her right, be what she wants to be. She's a girl of integrity, a girl of honesty and loyalty. She's a great friend. She's a great listener. She's compassionate. She's not judgmental. She'll listen to whatever you have to say and she'll share her information. She's positive. She's outgoing. She's a go-getter. She's goal-oriented. She likes to build businesses. She's a creator, a painter, a drawer. She's a singer. She's a dancer. She loves the Lord, and it was like, I had to get right with me. And that's what I learned. This is what I learned. It was about me becoming okay with me because I had never been alone in my life since age 16. I had a man in my life. My first husband was age 16 till I was 28 years old. We were together for those 12 years. And then my second husband I was with for 17 years married and 23 years. So I was 51 at the time when I got romance scammed. You'd think I'd be mature and know better, but I just felt like it was a journey I had to take. And I'm so glad I took it because it wasn't about the other guy. It wasn't about the guy I was with. It was really about Stacy learning who she is. Who am I? What is it that I'm passionate about? What do I want to do? And it's brought me a better respect from my ex-husband because now I'm doing things that I want to do. He tries to get in there and say, why are you doing that? It's a waste of time. But I'm always like, why are you writing a book? Why are you doing this? Why are you working on the horse website that you're doing? Why do you do YouTube videos? He's like, just do crypto. I said, Don, we had to go through this because if we hadn't, he's become very successful. He has really grown very well. And it's great. I'm happy for him. And I said, you would have never looked at other things to do if I hadn't left. If I was still in your life, I would have stunted your growth, and it would have stunted mine too. And now look who we are apart, and then look who we can be together. We can still be together, even though we're not emotionally into each other. We don't have that kind of physical attraction, but we have something that's even greater now. And I always look at things that way, look at what you've been through. If you're going through a hard time, look at what the lesson is, and love yourself. Just love yourself and love the Lord and just go with it. And if you can experience life as much as you can, I would say that's one of the things I would tell people to do is have as many experiences as you can and share it with the world, share it with everybody, because people are innately the same. Everybody wants love. Everyone wants to feel appreciated. Everybody wants to feel they're worthy. Of course you're worthy. Everybody is worthy and everyone has a story to tell. And you never know who you're going to touch. And it's just takes that one. You never take a stone, you throw it into the water and it causes a ripple. And that ripple goes around the world. It goes through the whole entire ocean. It goes around the world. So when you can touch just one person with your story or an experience you went through, or even if you're just quiet and you just are listening to them and not even saying anything, you're touching that person. And who knows who they're going to touch next with their story, or maybe they'll share something you said to them. I was fortunate when I was in Istanbul in Turkey, I became a teacher of English. And over there, they would ask me, so do you like President Trump? What do you think about Trump? What do you think about this? What do you think about Christianity versus Muslim? And I would always say to my students, I would say, well, we're not supposed to talk about, politics and religion, but we're going to, because I'm American. so, so they would be like, yes, Stacey's going to tell us stuff. And I would tell them, we all believe in a greater being than ourselves. Whether we call him Allah or Jesus or God or the Lord or Buddha, it doesn't matter what we call him. We just all believe there's a greater being out there that is bigger than all of us. And we all believe in this, and we try to live a certain way, being respectful to each other, loving each other. We try to do it. And it doesn't matter whether we're Christian or we're Muslim, because those are man-made. Those are man-made religions. And I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to God. He's an all-powerful being, and that's how you have to look at it. And they would be like, wow. And then I got the chance to teach these kids. They're not taught about opportunity. They don't know about opportunity. They don't know about being self-employed. They know about learning English and going to school and be an engineer. That was like the big thing over there. But they didn't know that they could step out on their own and have dreams. So I got a chance to teach them how to dream, how to write goals. And it was just such a blessing. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't been romance scammed and pulled over to that country, and going through what I was going through with my husband at that time. And, it was just like, wow, you start looking at how it all comes together, and it's truly an amazing life we live. Never a dull moment.
God's greatest plan, that's for sure, because there's just so much message in the mess. And I love your message for everybody, and your journey is very unique, and I'm sure that a lot of people have received those messages from those Nigerian princes, as you say, but it could be anybody, sending those messages, because it's just what you want to hear at the time. And you can see, in a way, they giving you what you want and you give them what they want. So you can see how this can get out of control. You can see how people get sucked in. You can see how people are filling that need. And it's just such a unique journey that you've taken us on today. What kind of message would you like to leave the audience on?
I think the message I would like to leave is, well, one, don't get romance scammed. Know the warning signs.
That's it. All the warning signs.
They're still people like you and I. They're not really any different. It's just the way they earn their living is way different and way wrong, in my opinion. But the message I'd like to leave is that people who have been through this romance scam, don't pay attention to what other people are saying about you. It's your walk and your journey. There's a lesson that you're learning. There's some kind of growth that you are going through, that you are going to experience, and you're going to come out even better than you were before. It's like, pressure makes the diamond. So, or the gold is black when you first find it, and then you've got to polish it to get it to look like gold, right? So you're a piece of gold, and don't ever let someone belittle you or make you feel, guilty or small or unworthy because you were romance scammed. And, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, but I was a smart person. I had a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD. How did this happen to me? It's okay. It's okay that it happened to you, because you have a story to share. What I want people to do is to be able to come through it and rise like the phoenix, from the ashes. Because there were so many times where I felt like the picture in my head was always of a wild horse. And I was running all the time for these past 5 years. I'm running as fast as I can to escape this. And I've got canyon walls on both sides of me, and there's no way I can climb them. And there's a dead end ahead of me. And somehow I broke through that. And I want people to know that they can too, that being a victim of a romance scam is not the end of the world. It's not the end of your life. It's not a reason to end your life. Nothing is the reason for that. And I've met many people who say they feel like they've lost everything and feel like dying. Well, I have personally lost millions of dollars. I have easily given him over $100,000 of money. And I've lost 4 houses. I lost my life when my family the way it was. You know, it's not the same way it was. I lost Christmases. I lost all kinds of Thanksgivings and everything. But did I really lose? I don't look at it that way. So it's all a mindset. If you can change your mindset to look at it as, I really didn't lose anything. What did I gain?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I gained the love of God, knowing him. I thought I knew him before. No. I did not know him. It's taken me a few years to really get close and really understand, excuse me, who he is and what he's about, and to really get good with myself and realize that, you know what, I'm worth loving. I'm worth loving, and I'm okay just by myself. I'm okay as a single woman. I can get whatever done I need to get done. I can accomplish things through God. I can do it all, right? So that's what I would like to leave the audience with, knowing that it's okay. No matter what your journey's been, you are still worthy. You're still valuable. You still have so much to give to somebody in this world, or maybe more than one somebody. And it's really important. It's super important that we all share our stories, because there's so much value in them. And if you can just be just down and dirty and real, you know, if anyone asks me anything, they can ask me anything and I will tell them about it. Just the real honest truth, and just bear that my soul to them. I am going to write a book about this. So it will be coming. But, yeah. So, but yeah, I want everyone to know that you are worthy and you are so loved. And there's nothing that you do that isn't worthy of forgiveness. Everything is forgiven. It's okay. Just be who you are and just be authentic. You know, be the real you. And if people don't like it, then that's okay. That's not your circle. You know, you find your tribe, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and just understand that some people are out there and they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. And maybe you can help them. Maybe you can get them on a different path, you know, a different path, like I did with this one man in Nigeria. And he talks to his friends all the time and tells them, you need to stop doing what you're doing and you need to start a business or do something the right way, you know, something that's honest and has integrity. So, you know, that did come about. And maybe that's what I was there to do, you know, to change that trajectory for that person who's now affecting many other people. So
that's a
your story matters.
Powerful message that you've got to share. So thank you very much for being brave to share your story. I know that there was a bit of hesitation the first time you kind of aired this, this story, and it's so unique and it's so empowering, it's so inspiring, and it's so relatable to so many people that receive those messages. And we'll be sharing where to connect with you. You are so appreciated, Stacey. You took us on a journey that is unlike no one else, and you can find the Victim to Victory podcast series on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and the Facebook group. Please subscribe, share, and comment to be the change that the world needs. Don't fall for any romance scams. Learn the lessons that Stacey has taught you today. And let me leave you a message of figure out who you are and do it on purpose. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much. And to everybody, have a great and blessed day.